Run Pure Sports. It's the MLB Swing for the Fences show. Even though we still have the NBA hardwood graphic up on site. I don't know who did that. Big T, I'm blaming you. What's going on, everybody? We got Big T, DC in the house. Somebody is going to give some winners because I guaranteed it on the last show. So if you weren't watching the last show, then I'm not going to say it again, but you know what I'm talking about. And he is guaranteed winners for you guys today. Big T, I'm talking about you. You ready to guarantee the people some winners?
I mean, I guarantee you already jacked us up. You were supposed to lead us to the promised land. You had the wrong graphic on there as the leader of the ship. You already started us wrong. I mean, just terrible.
So you're blaming the guy who's coming off of one show to the next show?
What did we talk about, DC, before the show? Who's leading us?
John over there.
I led us there. I switched it.
Led us to failure. We had an NBA graphic. That's bad mojo.
It was a seamless transition between graphics, though. There wasn't
noticed it if you didn't bring it up. You brought it up though.
Yeah, because you know why? I don't like hiding. I don't like hiding from it. I go right into it. That's how men do it, Big T. You don't hide from things. You just go right in. You say something that you think's funny, people might laugh at you. You go through it.
Come on, John, be a leader, Jacob says.
Oh God, I hate when people call me John. DC, please start talking before people start calling me John.
Yeah, I like John. I think we'll stick with that for this show for today. After that blunder of an opening you had. Yeah, what do we got? An 8-game slate tonight here on Monday afternoon. I know, JSU, you played Mr. Paddock like me. I'm sure many people in the chat played Paddock on the early slate. So that was a quick one. I give a lot of respect to the members in Discord and the people that are like still rooting their team on when they take like the -13 from Paddock. I'm out of there. When you get like a -10 from your pitcher to start the slate, you know, if you min cash, that's great, but you can't try to sweat it out for like the tiniest cash possible.
DC, I will just say I tweeted you about this. The Twins are officially permanently banned from DFS for the next month. And I refuse. I did not just play Paddock. I played Buxton as well. So double kicking.
Is he hurt again or is he healthy?
Oh, no.
The Twins,
he left the game. He quit.
They pulled Buxton and Correa in the 4th inning against the White Sox here on day 4. Pretty rough.
Yeah. Quitter, Big T. You can't play quitters. I refuse to play quitters. He's on the quitter list along with Correa and the rest of those Twins. Get them out of there. I don't want nothing to do with them.
The MMA rule, anyways, it applies to all sports. When people quit, they're out. I mean, they're just out. In anything, not even sports, in life. Quitters, you're out. If you quit, you're done. You got to have heart.
I mean, you can't be down 9-whatever against the White Sox. Four games in. That's a tough seat. You got to stay in for pride at that point, DC. You can't bow out.
Well, they got swept by the Cardinals, and they go face the division rival White Sox and get just absolutely owned. Rough start for the Twins, and rough start for the NL team that I root for the most, the Braves, who got swept by the Padres. Just announced Jerks and Profar are going to be suspended for Peds. So Twins and Braves, two rough starts.
Profar plays for the Braves now.
Profar, yeah.
Why in the world did they go get him? He stinks.
He's not going to be playing for a while.
He realized he stinks though, so he started cheating. I respect that. If you can't be good enough, you got to cheat.
Yo, they're all ordering those torpedo bats or whatever. I'm telling you, that's gonna be great. It's gonna be great for baseball. I can't wait.
Judge isn't using it though, right? So what's the deal with that?
He doesn't need to. He's Aaron Judge.
What would it be too obvious if he was using it? He would hit too many.
It's only if you're like where you hit it on the bat is different than kind of normal is why you would use them. So players that like square it up on the barrel often wouldn't gain any advantage. Basically, is what it is.
It's like using the bigger driver head in golf and like getting a little more forgiveness if you're a little worse.
Yep.
Yeah, Judge is just too good to need that, but some guys aren't and they need it. So I get it. And thank you, Bill. See, that is respect right there. Got to give JSU a lot of credit for being in the bullpen yesterday and being the closer. Exclamation point. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate you. for remembering that. Some people who didn't watch the show might not have remembered that. My guy DC was trying to figure out how to fix the banners and stuff. Come in and save the day.
Absolutely, and you're called to the bullpen today too, filling in for JT. So yeah, JSU working overtime over there. You love to see it.
Always got to fill in. Always got to fill in for James Hayes. Yeah, I'd do anything for James Hayes. Great guy. All right, let's get to the
knuckles. That was impressive. What was that, DC?
No, that was his knuckles.
That was good power on the knuckles. You crack them that loud?
More often than I would care to admit. It's probably an issue of some sort.
You are just like my brother. He cracks them all the time. I could tell by the way you just seamlessly did that.
I mean, he was like,
he cracked every single one of them when he did that too.
Yeah,
I was impressed.
That was loud too. That's like when I snap my finger. Like when you have someone who can snap their fingers super loud, and you're like, "Holy shit!" He just cracked his knuckles, and we all heard every single one of them.
I was impressed.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe we can do it later in the show once they recharge a little bit over here.
You can do that back to back. You can reload.
No, they got to recharge, but maybe in 45 minutes. Yeah.
Big T was thinking like you were gonna do them like instantly there, just like another crack.
I'm used to a 45-minute recharge, so I'm on the same page as him.
Everyone needs a little recharge. All right, let's get to the games here. Obviously, starting off 7:05, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay. First game on the slate here. Tampa Bay -185 on DK Sportsbook. An 8 total in this one. DC, I'm going to throw this one over to you first. I know the ballpark. People have been talking about this new ballpark for Tampa Bay. Maybe talk about that a little bit and what you like from this game.
Yeah, we haven't seen it so far in Tampa Bay. Pretty low-scoring games, but I do trust, the people that are really into the ballpark science and stuff. I do think this is going to play like a hitter's park when it's all said and done. Part of that is, they're playing in Tampa where it's warm and humid and the ball's going to fly compared to other places around the country this time of the year, obviously. So, yeah, I do think it's going to be a dangerous ballpark to pitch in, specifically for giving up home runs. Obviously, that would lead to us wanting to play hitters there in general, which, again, I do think is true. Part of the problem, though, is just the offenses that have been there so far. Tampa Bay, they just don't have a lot on offense right now. I think they're a team to target in general with pitchers, but not with Mr. Lodzinski is not who I don't think we're going to want to play today, even at 6,300. So I'm off him. But then Rasmussen, I think, is a pretty interesting play. Did work up to 4 2/3, 5 innings in his last spring outing. So should be good to go. A good pitcher, just has been hurt a lot. And then he gets this Pirates team who I think they're another team that we want to target early and often with pitching. So kind of a tough slate for pitching overall, just because most of these teams are on their 4th or 5th starting pitchers here on Monday on the 5th day of the season. So Rasmussen, I think one of the better options, not super cheap at 8,500, but I don't see a lot of cheap options that I really want to play. So Rasmussen is on the short list for me. And then I have no problem if you want to go to Tampa Bay stacks. Again, I don't love the offense, but sometimes you got to play against the pitcher, and that would be the case going up here against Mladzinski. So all Rays side for me in this one.
Hey, what are you doing here with this game, Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay?
Yeah, I was trying to check into the stadium and stuff just because this isn't their permanent one, right? Is it just for this year or is it not permanent?
Well, their like dome collapsed or whatever. Some happened at the stadium. So
they never going back to it, or are they still going back to that?
I think all that is very much up for. They could relocate. Yeah, it's hard to know.
Wasn't this like a minor league stadium? Wasn't this like a minor league stadium too?
It's Steinbrenner Field. It's like a Yankees minor league stadium, I think.
Where they played the spring training stuff at and stuff?
Yeah, probably.
Because I was so used to, like you said, the first weekend, I was waiting to see how it played out. But like you said, a bunch of bad offenses. You don't really know yet. But I just have to get rid of the stigma in my head of that dome just because it is so different outside where you get the hot weather, all that stuff, especially later in the year. But tonight, again, more of the same with these teams. I definitely like Rasmussen for sure. The way the slate sets up, Pittsburgh not really intimidating, so he's definitely going to be one of my preferred pitching options. Which is, he does feel like somewhat expensive at 8,500, just how bad pitching is, but there just isn't a lot of premium options. So definitely on him. In Tampa Bay, I always loved on these baseball shows early in the year because there's always at least a couple guys on each team that I've never heard of. And I always like the guys that are up high in the lineup because I know obviously they're probably young studs that I just haven't heard of. And I don't know who this junior Camporeale dude is, but he's got to be good, I assume. Yeah. 5,200. The 3-hole, good park. I mean, he sticks out to me right away as someone that I want to get in my lineups. Right behind Brandon Lowe, too, who I always like. He's always got the chance to be on the big platoons charts that's coming back to Run Pure. Everyone wanted them. We got to get the platoons for each position. Brandon Lowe's definitely a guy that I like today. So you pop a few guys in there from Tampa. I don't love their lineup again. I mean, some of the Magnum PI down at the bottom in the 8-hole. I mean, there's I don't know, is that the quick dude from the Mariners, Caballero, or was he always with the Rays? A fast dude, right? I think he's
yeah, he can run. Yep.
Was he for the Mariners or was he always on Tampa? I thought I remembered it for the Mariners.
No, I think he's been on Tampa.
Has he?
Yeah.
I remember he's a speedster though. Misner's cheap. I don't know. I kind of like this Tampa lineup tonight. I feel like this team might get going. It's got a couple greasy players in it, but Danny Jansen's a little bit of an upgrade over last year. I always hated their catchers last year. I like Tampa a little bit, but Pittsburgh, what's that?
The thing that's I kind of, you're talking me on to Tampa a little bit too, because it's like if this stadium had actually, given up a bunch of runs or a bunch of runs have been scored there the first weekend instead of not, like I think people would be all over the Rays here, right? They're up against a just scrub pitching staff. We know it's going to be a good place to hit eventually, so could be good to get on them before we really see the stadium kind of erupt into high scoring games.
And they're just the team too I trust with, even if their roster looks crappy. It's always trust that they got guys that they know they want and stuff like that, where everybody might be a little underrated in their lineup early in the season. Park might be underrated. It's not like even though there's not a ton of pitching early in the year, like nights like this, offenses haven't really popped. So like everyone just tends to go to the same teams, which in baseball is nice if you can get a lower owned team like the Rays. I mean, with the offenses that are on this slate, some of the bigger teams, I mean, we might get the Rays somewhat low owned with everyone like shoving in teams like the Dodgers and stuff later on. So I don't know. I like the Rays a decent amount. The Pirates, I mean, you can grab a couple bats in there, but I mean, they got two of my least favorite hitters in all of baseball ever, and Adam Frazier and Wiz Khalifa down there. I mean, two just absolute dumpsters down there. I don't like those guys at all.
I would have thought Adam Frazier was on the big platoon squad.
He's so bad. I mean, he's part of the issue though with the platoons. I always hate lefties, like unless they're like a really good lefty. Like all the little lefties are slap hitters, and
that's why he hates Adam Frazier because he's little. I figured it out. DC, it makes sense.
He's probably JSU's favorite player.
I think he's like 5 for 10 too, like against Rasmussen too. It's funny, like he's 5 for 10 in his at bats against
Rasmussen. 5 singles.
Probably. Yeah, no, I don't like him. It's just funny that I figured out why you don't like him. It's because he's little.
No, that and he sucks. He's terrible.
Scary Creations has it right. If there's a big platoon on the Pirates, it's Jack Sawinski. Big power in the 5-hole there.
I will say the middle of their lineup does look decent enough. Like O'Neill Cruz, Joey Bart for a catcher. I mean, I don't mind 3,600 catcher in the middle of the lineup. Sawinski, Reynolds, obviously. It's just rough, the rest of it. It's not like a full stack type team. But I don't hate the mini stack. You could definitely see some power from the middle of that lineup. And in baseball, I mean, what is it tonight? 8 games? I mean, it's not like it's that big of a slate. You can throw some bats in there from every team, especially in a park like this. What if this park does pop off?
Yeah, I mean, the one guy, I'm definitely playing some O'Neal Cruz because even if he doesn't like hit bombs, man, this dude is swiping bags. I don't know if Rasmussen's good at keep holding runners. DC, I don't know any of that, but O'Neal Cruz might just be the cheat code because he's patient. And when he gets on base, it's probably because when he gets on base, he knows like he's getting a second. Like he's just going to make a single, a double really easy. So, I'm definitely playing some one-off O'Neal Cruz here. I probably won't play any other Pittsburgh. I think I'm going to play Brandon Lowe, however you say his name, and that Camporeale dude or whatever Big T called him. So a mini stack from Tampa and a one-off from Pittsburgh. Don't fade O'Neal Cruz.
Big T, just drop your address in the chat here. People want to send you gifts. So let everybody know.
Yeah, Big T. Drop your address in chat. I think actually Big T, if like all of us Big T might get the most gifts of anyone if we all did that. I think Big T get a lot of gifts.
You would be showered with gifts.
You've helped a lot of people in your day, Big T. You go back a long way. I think you get a lot of love.
So some people have sent me like that. I got that Wancho, Minnesota jersey that someone sent me. I like it. Have you seen
Someone
the
sent you
Wancho
a jersey?
I think it was actually the dude that was in the chat. One of the dudes that was in the chat earlier sent me the Wancho one. I love that Wancho jersey.
Damn, I'm right. You'd get good gifts too. You wouldn't just get shitty gifts. You'd get some pretty damn good gifts. I knew I was right.
I mean, that's the type of stuff I love, stuff like that.
Yeah, look at that jersey behind you. Look at that 44
that's
jersey
my
behind
one,
you.
that 44 John Wallace that Johnny gave me.
That's it. 40th.
I put him right next to Kenny Powers. That's how you know his position. He's even ahead of Jokic on the wall.
1 and 2. Jokic might be 3 on the wall. As much as you love Jokic, you got Kenny Power and John Wallace. Like he might be 3 on the wall. So
I agree. He's 3 on the wall at least. I might have to. There might be something else.
Yeah, you know this guy Terry Niehaus. I'll tell you right now, Terry can whine sometimes. I love Terry Niehaus, but man, he can whine sometimes.
Sure. I hand delivered a golf bag to him earlier today, and he says he doesn't get shit. I hand delivered it to him on my birthday. Hand delivered a golf bag on my birthday.
You said on your birthday. We already know you don't give a shit about your birthday.
Comes in and whines about not getting anything. That's classic Uncle T.
It is such Uncle T. I love Uncle T. It's so funny though. That's such him. All right, let's go to the next game here. Washington Nationals and Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays minus 170 on the money line, 8.5 total here. DC, throwing this one back to you. What are we doing with the pitchers in this game? And any love for the hitters as well?
Yeah, I like the Toronto side, hitters and pitchers here. Bowden Francis was a rookie last year. I was on him early in the season, and that did not go well. But then he was really good down the stretch for the Blue Jays. He went back to the minors, made his return, pitched well August, September, pitched well this spring. I've always liked the talent with him, and yeah, he's good to go here. I expect him to pitch well against the Nationals. Not a perfect matchup. The Nationals have a few dangerous lefties, Abrams, James Wood, Garcia can swing it. So again, not the cleanest of matchups. It's just a tough slate for pitching. There's not very many, pitchers that I love on this slate. So I'll take a guy that I do think is talented, is a little bit underrated, a little bit unknown. I do like Francis here. I think he's got more upside than Rasmussen, right in that, mid 8K range. I do think Rasmussen is a little bit safer though. I could see Francis getting into more trouble. So kind of depending on what you look for, all of lineups that have both of those two together. And then I really like the Toronto bats here. They're one of the teams, there's a few teams like this. The Padres are a little bit like it too, where they're better as a stack than as one-offs because they're such a contact-oriented team, right? They're always putting the ball in play. And that's how you can get the huge rallies, stringing hits together where you can really get a 5-man stack to go off. I like Toronto's chances tonight. Soroka has just not shown much at the big league level in a long, long time. I think he's had 2 torn Achilles. It's just been a rough ride injury-wise. He's got some hype this spring, Soroka, that maybe he'll be back closer to his old self, but I'm going to have to see it first with Soroka. He's a guy who gives up a lot of contact, not a high strikeout guy against a high contact team. I could just see the Blue Jays putting together some big innings, some crooked numbers in this game. So definitely one of my favorite stacks. The Blue Jays, in terms of the individual bats there, of course, I'm not stacking the Blue Jays without Vlad. So he would be on there absolutely. And then, yeah, I think it's the top of the lineup, most of that you want. Bichette, Vlad, Santander, and then Andres Jimenez hitting cleanup, 3,800, got some power from the left side. Yeah, like I said, really, really like the Blue Jays, expecting big performance out of them tonight. I think they'll be not super high owned, but yeah, maybe one of the top 2 or 3 owned stacks.
Yeah, it feels like they're in a pretty good spot. Big T, DC is all over Toronto, pitching, hitting. What are you doing here with Toronto? It seems like a spot that people will be on, but I'm not sure if they'll be like one of the top stacks, but probably up there.
Yeah, definitely one of the top stacks. They're a team too that always just pops off with the numbers and stuff. People are always going to like them. You got a lot of power, a lot of upside. And then the bottom of the lineup, you got some cheap guys that you can even mix into your stacks, which makes it nice too. Whatever it is about Toronto, I just feel like every time I play them, they always let me down. They're like the Twins and the Blue Jays are the 2 teams over the last 3 years.
Well, luckily we've written off the Twins for the next year, so you're safe there.
Until tomorrow when they're in a good spot, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden I like them again, like always. But like they're just my nemesis. And you look at this lineup, and I love it. And you add guys like Santander, Jimenez. Those are guys that strengthen the lineup, extend the lineup a little bit. I mean, you have to like Toronto. And it is a spot, though, where I kind of like Washington a little bit, too, as a sneakier stack. This lineup, I mean, C.J. Abrams, I think, is one of the best plays of the night. Just in that one hole, just an absolute stud. Love the matchup versus Francis. Love James Wood behind him. It's more of the same like Pittsburgh, where I don't want to full stack Washington, but the top of the lineup, and then you got a catcher in the 3-hole. I've always liked Ruiz. I think he's just a solid catcher up top in a lineup. So as far as men stack, I love the top of this lineup.
Yeah.
And I think we could see some runs in this game. So I'm in on that. And then the Toronto side, I mean, you have to like Vlad. Santander, I always like I said, Jimenez. George Springer might be a little too dusty for me right now. I don't love Kirk either, but for whatever reason. And then I like some of the cheap guys at the bottom, though. I mean, I don't even know who Alan Rodin is, but 2K outfielder. Love the wraparound stack. Nathan Lukes, never heard of him, but he's 2,400. I like him too at the bottom. Little wraparound city for Toronto today.
Never heard of him, but love that at 2K. That's
Yeah.
2K, you can sell me on a lot of 2K guys at a good stack.
true. This is true.
I'm not paying $4,200 over Grandpa Springer over $2,000 Alan Rodin.
You can't be doing that with Grandpa Springer. You got to play I would assume, young guy in Alan Rodin at 2K.
I actually like the whole lineup except for Springer. Like Springer's just, I struggle with Springer in there.
Yeah, I'm not playing Springer either. I agree with you guys. Toronto does seem like a pretty good play. Washington, the only guy I'm playing from Washington is Ruiz. He's like one of the better. I still think he's like a value at catcher too. Like what he's priced at.
He looks so good at the plate for these first 2 games. Yeah, I like that call.
I think I've played him every slate so far in baseball, even if it's not a stack as a one-off, like just jammed him at catcher. I think I'm going to continue to just play him until he's going to be like 4K. He's going to be like one of the top catchers, I think, priced soon. So he's already heading in that direction.
I'm going to track these, Joe Ruff, because whenever I make these comments, people, double dunk. Okay, I'm putting it down. I'm keeping a tally this year. No, he sucks. So when he sucks, you can't come back tomorrow and make the same joke. Like whoever I make fun of, you got, double dong incoming. Because the
75 to 1 double dong, George Springer, if you want to bet it.
I actually, when you put it 75 to 1, it sounds a lot better than I like 75 to 1.
Snyder wants even odds on $100.
Yeah, he would. that sounds like a Snyder bet. He's like, you said he won't hit 2 balls.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's funny. Plus 650 if you just want the one bomb, Joe Ruff. You can go plus 650 if you rather that. But Yeah. All right. I think that was it. Tony, anything with the pitchers? It sounded like you just like the offense. So no pitching
there's
for
just
you
not
here?
a ton of pitching out there tonight. So I'm definitely not playing Soraka, obviously, but Francis, I could play a little Francis. It's not my favorite spot of the night, but there's just not a lot of pitchers, and I'm playing 150 in that mini max. So like,
you're not a big Sriracha guy, Big T? Not into the Sriracha?
No.
Let me say this. I'm not a scientist over here, but if I'm betting Springer home runs, give me the double dong at 75-1 over one at
100%. I'm even in on that, and I don't like Springer. 75-1 is something I might be interested in.
I'm going to pull that up for every random name that you get made fun of for that you shit on. I'm just going to pull up his double dong and be like, all right, Big T, here it is. 130.
It is going to be electric when he hits 2 bombs tonight. Like, it's going to,
if he hits 2 bombs, that's like, honestly, I should bet it now because it is your day.
2 bombs. Like, it sounds good. 75-1. He's not hitting 2 bombs.
Just saying.
I might bet it.
How many people do you think have bet it since this conversation started? At least like 5
I'm going to say at least 2 or 3. I'm going to say at least 2 or 3. Show yourself in the chat if you bet George Springer double dong. I think what I'm going to actually do is I'm just going to bet everyone's bomb of the day or dong of the day in a parlay, and I'll get massive odds for that. That's probably
like a Johnny bet.
That's definitely a Johnny bet right there. I did it with me and DC. It didn't come through yesterday, but I did it with me and DC. I'll do it.
The dong bets are fun. Like, you get good odds. Yeah. The stolen base ones DC was doing was my favorite though.
And you know what you do? You get those like bonus bets on DK from like the no sweat stuff they give, and you just throw that on those long shot ones. You get like $10, $20 no sweat bets. You can just put those right on it, $50, whatever, and that's the way I like to do it.
Redmond's needling me. He had 3 times last year, double dogs. What's 3 times 75 is less games. We're ahead. We're ahead, Redmond.
I'll take the under on 3 double down games for Springer this season. But yeah, that's
like one of the bets though that's like you hate booking though, because like you got to fade the whole year, and like once he gets one, you get a little bit more nervous, and it's like
I forget who you were fighting with this about. You had this exact same conversation with someone. They were like arguing back with you about it. It's like you were like, okay, give me 100-1 right now, like to book it. Like give me, I'll put $100 on it. No, you were like owning. I forget who you were talking to, and you were like,
people always talk about odds like that where they're like, he's 98-1. I'm like, okay, well, give me 98-1 on, and they never will. It's like,
because you'll slap a hundy down. You'll slap a hundy down, and then if you win, they got to pay you like $10K or $90.
You give them $100. Yeah. Those are the best bets to make. Like, oh, here's my 100. You want to book it all year?
Yeah, you'll win a couple of those too.
You'll probably win. You will probably win, but you're gonna have to sweat a lot harder than I am when I'm putting 100 up and you're putting 10 grand up.
You're not sweating as hard for that 100.
Getting a stack from Uncle T, that's got to feel good on the 10K.
Oh, I would love to get some
Uncle T won't book him. I know Uncle T. He will not book 100 to win 10K. He won't take that 10K sweat. No shot. And Uncle T's he's a wealthy man. I saw him winning a few stacks. He's a wealthy man right now. So
he's got
I don't even think that he would.
Pockets.
How do you have money flowing out of your pockets? And Big T's the one bringing you stuff.
I brought him a bag. I hand delivered it to his place of employment.
That's unbelievable. That's service too. That's good service.
No, it was good service. And then he called me out right away in the chat. Hurt my feelings.
It's bullshit. Bullshit, Uncle T. I'm calling you out. All right, next game here on the slate. We got the LA Angels and the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinals minus 162 on DK Sportsbook. 8 is the total in this game. DC, we did talk up the Cardinals a little bit yesterday towards the end of the show. That stack kind of came through. The weather was in and out a little bit, but they scored some runs. They put some runs up on the board, so that worked out. If you took some Cardinals bats, are we going back to them here against the Angels, who didn't look that great to start the season?
Yeah, they get Tyler Anderson here. Two kind of grizzled veterans, Tyler Anderson and Miles Michaelis. No interest for me in either pitcher, so it would be the bats here that I would use. cooler, though, in St. Louis than it was over the weekend. So kind of a tough place to hit. So I don't think I'm going full stacks here, but definitely some one-offs. I don't mind. Lars Nootbaar has looked really good in the leadoff spot. I think he's a good play at 4K. Even left versus left is fine. Love Wilson Contreras. I think he's first base eligible or only, though, which kind of sucks. Can't use him at catcher anymore. And then the guy that I'm really keeping my eye on for St. Louis is Victor Scott, the second down there. Still in the 8 hole, but he has looked ridiculously good. Stole like 94 bases, I think, 2 seasons ago in the minors. He's got a couple of them already, but he's hitting for power too. It actually looks good at the plate. He was kind of a speed-only, defense-only type prospect. And it looks like maybe he's kind of turned the corner with the stick. So you give me all the speed in the world. That part's unquestioned. And now maybe a developing hitter is 2,400. Not going to be owned because he's hitting 8th. Love Victor Scott II specifically on the Cardinals, especially if you need the value, which you might, because I think for the most part we're kind of spending at starting pitcher today. But yeah, Scott, my favorite on the Cardinals, followed by Contreras, Nootbaar. No problem with Luken Baker, but he is kind of a big platoon type player, could easily come out of the game once Anderson's out and they bring in a right-handed reliever. And then on the Angels side, team that didn't do much, even against the lowly White Sox pitching staff. But I don't mind going to Trout here. Really the top 4 in the Angels lineup is, I think, where you want to look. That's where all their, actual big league caliber hitters are. Ward, Shanuel, Trout, Soler. You can go down to Ohapi if you want. I'm not playing Moncada right now. So yeah, I think these offenses are okay. It's just the park is tough. Not a place you really want to go too crazy with offense, in my opinion, even with 2 mediocre pitchers on the mound.
DC, can I interest you in plus 425 Victor Scott stolen base?
Yes, I could be interested in that. I like that. I like that call. Yeah.
All right.
Could be tough off Anderson, the lefty, but I still like it.
Okay. All right. That's kind of more what I was wondering.
Yeah, you can run on Anderson. So yeah, that's a good bet for sure.
Okay. All right. Like it. Big T, any bats? I know Arenado's kind of started off pretty good. Big T or DC liked a couple of them, but probably not a full stack with the weather. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the lineup, so I just don't. Tyler Anderson's a guy last year that just abused me all year. I always felt like it was a good spot. It reminds me always of that Boston Lester dude that was good for so many years. Like he's way better than Tyler Anderson, but where at the end of Lester's career, like we would stack against him every freaking game, and he would just always get out of bases loaded, no out situations, and you always knew it was coming at some point, but he would go like 12 starts without you just ripping him, and you just hated it. And Tyler Anderson in this bad park with cold weather, I don't know. Like, I just don't like St. Louis that much in this spot. I do like a few of these guys, but I think I'm putting them more in the men stack type category where I can play a few of these guys on their own. I just don't love it. Like Contreras is always okay. Baker's a great price point, but do we really need savings today? I don't know. I don't really need to save at first base. There's not that much I want to spend up for. Arenado's starting good. I like the Victor Scott. I mean, no one's going to play Victor Scott. Those are the calls that win you tournaments too, where you throw a Victor Scott one-off in there or something, and he gets 3 stolen bases or something somehow. And then, yeah, you said it about the Angels. Another team that, I mean, I like their lineup a little bit at the top, but man, I've already played them, I think, 2 of the slates already this year, and they just don't do anything. Even when you get like a really good start and they get like bases loaded right away, then the bad hitters come up and you still just don't get anything from it. And Michaelis, too, isn't a guy that I love, like his talent, but he's another guy that just, I don't feel like ever gets just crushed. He's just one of those like decent real life pitchers that you don't want to play in fantasy that much, but he just will limit. He's not going to go out there and give up 10 runs or something, which you need to win a tournament when you stack these teams. So I don't know. I don't like this. I hate this ballpark. It looks like it might be in the 40s by the time the game starts. 40s or low 50s. I mean, I don't love anything about this environment. I'll leave some of the good batters in there for sure, but definitely not full stacking this game by any means.
Michaelis is one of those guys you want to wait till the weather warms up to really stack against him because he's going to give up a ton of contact. Yeah. But when it's cold, he'll grind you down with the fly ball outs. You can just see it happen.
Baseball's funner when we get hot weather where you
can way better.
It's just tough though because the pitching sucks tonight, and you still look at these stacks and you're still like, man, I just don't. Yeah. I don't know. I don't love these offenses. I mean,
you say that, but like, look at the White Sox today. You know what I mean? Just like it wasn't the best spot, and then they just go nuclear. So baseball it's a little tough from that aspect.
You have to take advantage of that stuff. You don't always just go in there and play the Dodgers and these. I play these teams too. I'm not saying not to play the big offenses, but don't be scared to go in and stack up the Tigers tonight, or don't be scared to throw some. And some of the best MLB DFS players, you'll see them win. I mean, how many times have we seen the Saber Sim dude? What's his? I'm drawing a blank. What's his name?
Squid.
I mean, this dude wins millions and millions of dollars with these 1% owned stacks. It's baseball. It's free. And that's what makes it fun. It's baseball. Like there's variance. You can play bad stacks.
It's kind of
they will. Yeah.
Well, just I'm sure a lot of people and us too coming from like playing NBA every day, where like you can't really play one or two or five. Yeah. But baseball, you play whoever you want for sure.
Whoever you want. Like it could be against the best pitcher, and it still makes sense because all the pitching ownership's there, and you got no ownership on the hitters. And when they go off, you win all the money, and that's all that matters.
Yep, that's what you want. You want to win all the money, Big T, or at least that's the goal, anyways, to win as much money as possible. So, I'm with it. Let's keep it moving here. Let's go to the Giants and the Astros, 8 total. Astros sitting minus 125 on DK Sportsbook right now. Big T, let's throw it to you here first real quick. What do we got on the mound with these two pitchers here in Houston?
So another part that I don't love is Houston, but Blanco last year, I mean, he was pretty good real life pitcher. I picked on him a bunch too, and it didn't necessarily work out. He seems like a really good, just solid real life pitcher. I know I think if I remember this right, some of his advanced numbers weren't as good as like his real numbers, but still, that's why we kept picking on him. He kept beating us. So in my head, he's pretty good. Hicks, I think, relatively solid too. So on this slate, two decent pitching options, and looking at these offenses, I just don't love Houston. I know they go get Christian Walker, Paredes too, a couple new additions. They lose Bregman, but I don't love this lineup. I mean, the bottom of it is not something I'm in love with. They lose Kyle Tucker, obviously, which I would love in this type of matchup. I would love Tucker and Jordan up top. I think it's okay. Like you can go there, but San Francisco, it's just a team I'm not going to play that much. You just look up and down the lineup. Who are you really excited to play? Willie Adames, did he get some massive contract or something? He seems to me like a guy that's not going to, he got paid, and I don't think we see. Whenever a good hitter goes to San Francisco, I just assume they're going to fall into mediocrity, get paid. Their park sucks. I don't love it. Chapman's been pretty good out of the gate. Chapman looks like a stud. Ramos looks like a stud for sure. So yet another team where you can throw a few bats in there, but I don't want a full stack against Blanco. And honestly, I don't love the Houston stack all that much either. As far as they're one of the better stacks of the night. So I don't know. I don't love this game. I'll take some flyers on the pitchers, actually.
Yeah, the pitchers, they do seem a little interesting. DC, you on the pitchers in this game?
I'm mostly off this game entirely. I'm not paying the $9K for Blanco. I don't think it's the worst play. It's interesting. If you look at the pitcher projections, our guy Captain does a really good job with them. The spread, if you do like point per dollar value today, is really, really narrow. Like they're all kind of clumped up together. So essentially they're priced, appropriately to what they should be based on their props, which, if you think those are accurate, those projections, which I kind of do, probably the proper approach to that knowledge of a tight spread of projections is to take the low-owned pitchers, right? If they're all kind of projected for the same point per dollar, why wouldn't you want the lower-owned guys? So that's something that I'm wrestling with just in general. I do think Blanco and Hicks both will be pretty low-owned. We've got Blanco at 10% and Hicks significantly below that. So
I mean, there's no way anyone's playing Hicks. Was kind of why I liked him a little bit.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, Astros are
You
really
are strapped to a ceiling though, too. Like I'm not Hicks isn't going to go out there and like full shove, but you might not need it. Who knows?
Especially against the Astros, who make a ton of contact. So I'm not going to play Hicks or Blanco, but I don't think they're the craziest plays. If I had to stack one of these two teams, it'd definitely be the Astros side against Hicks, who does give up a lot of contact. Again, Astros, one of those teams, kind of like the Blue Jays, Padres, who make a ton of contact that leads to, or at least leads to a better chance at long rallies. So, yeah, I mean, this has kind of been the case with a lot of these teams, but the top half of the Astros, Altuve, I would definitely get Paredes in there. Alvarez and then Christian Walker, I think, is a really fun stack. Although the bottom looks fine too. Cam Smith hasn't done yet, but he's a powerful rookie. You can play him in the outfield for cheap. And then, Dubon, Myers are cheap as well. So maybe more interest in the Astros here than I let on initially. I don't think Hicks is going to be that great, especially outside of San Francisco. I'm sure he'll have success there, but get him on the road in indoor park, smaller park. I think the Astros could do some damage here. Don't like them as much as the Blue Jays, but I do think they're a pretty good stack against Hicks.
I think you bring up a great point without even realizing you bring it up. Like all these outside of Tyler Glass now tonight, like everyone's projections between like 15 and 10 or 11.
Exactly.
Basically the same projection overall. Basically the same point per dollar. Because let's face it, Hicks is probably overpriced. Let's face it, all these guys are probably Blanco's overpriced at 9K. But if everyone's overpriced and no one really has upside, why not just take a fly? And again, I'm talking the $3 max, mini max, where you play 150. Like, why don't I play 10% Jordan Hicks when he's 3% owned and get a little above the field? Then I don't know. Like, I don't think it's an incredible play, but I'm branching out more at pitcher tonight just than I normally would.
Yeah, that's not normally your strategy either. You're normally jam the pitchers.
On here. Like, I look at them and I'm like, I'm not sold on any of these guys that much more than other guys.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, Glass now, obviously, but everyone's going to play Glass now. He's going to be.
I think that's one of the reasons to play Blanco. Honestly, I don't love Blanco. I don't want to pay 9K, but honestly, like he seems like a decent play when you're like looking at his ownership compared to all these other guys. So, I'm probably going to play a little Blanco. I don't know if I'll get the Hicks, but you make good points. Like if you don't mind Hicks and you want to just get over the field,
this is only if you're playing a bunch of teams. Like if you're playing 3-5 teams, you don't do it. But if you're playing 150, I mean, what's wrong with playing 10% of them or something? Like I don't know. He doesn't have to go that crazy. If he gets 15 points, you're good.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. I agree. Houston bats. I could be talked into a mini stack, or I like Christian Walker in this spot. He's definitely someone that I think is interesting at 4,500. Paredes. So I like those two guys. If you can't get all the way up to Jordan, I'll probably have some Houston. Not much of San Fran.
Because of platoons, what was Christian Walker's difference last year, DC? Lefty and righty. Because he is a platoon guy in my head where I always only want to play him against lefties. Is it in my head? We should do this segment all year on this show. Is it in my head or is there some truth to it?
He's a lefty masher, a legit lefty masher.
What is the number? Is the numbers a lot better versus lefties or just a little bit better? Sometimes it could be just in my – there's been a few times we've done this and then they're like, he's actually better versus the opposite hand or something.
I don't think it was a huge split last year, but over the course of his career, he's been way better against lefties.
Yeah.
You had it right, you had it right.
He's definitely much better against lefties, but
I mean, he's like an auto play always for me when a lefty's on the mound. He's like the first base. I should have each position like who the staple. He's like a definite lefty masher central.
He had 4 home runs.
Is like the guy I always play.
Oh,
he had 4 home runs last year against lefties. It looks like 22 against righties from what I'm looking at. But obviously played way more bats against righties too. So, yeah. He's still probably lefty, someone you want more against the lefty. All right, let's keep it moving here. Next game up on the slate, Cleveland and San Diego Padres here. Padres just dominant. By the way, the Braves, I don't know if the Braves stink. They absolutely stink. I'm sorry, JP. I know I'm covering for you. I shouldn't do this to you when I'm covering for you. I know Braves are your team, but my God, they're bad. And Profar popping for steroids. I see why he took steroids. They need steroids. That team needs steroids. And even then, I don't know if it's going to help them that much. They're
except for tonight against massive 70% on glass now. This is probably
well, yeah. Now that glass now is chalked, they'll probably randomly go off. But the Padres, on the other hand, the one thing I don't love about this, and Tony, you've talked about this for years with the Padres, the ballpark. It's ridiculous. It's just so. And Manny Machado even said it. He's like, they asked him about those torpedo bats, and he goes, send us a couple of those torpedo bats for this big ballpark we got in San Diego. And I was like, these guys know, like, it's bullshit. Like, it's so hard. They hit balls to the warning tracks. It's just like those balls are out in other parks, and it makes it tough for these guys. I mean, DC, what are we doing here with this game right now, Guardians and Padres?
Yeah, I think you want to look at offense, if anything, here. But like you mentioned, the park, I mean, I can't play Ortiz or Hart, even at their prices. So it would be the offense. I guess that's the only thing left. But you're right. I mean, this ballpark does suck for hitting. But this Kyle Hart guy couldn't hack it in Major League, or, couldn't quite make it to the majors. It's kind of up and down. Goes over to Korea for a year and pitches well, and then comes back over. It usually doesn't go well for these guys, like kind of like a soft tossing lefty type. So I do love the matchup for the Guardians. I just wish the park was better. I don't believe the Guardians lineup is out. We'll see if Jose Ramirez is in there. He's got kind of a sore wrist. So if he's out, certainly a downgrade. I would still love Lane Thomas specifically as a downgrade, or as a one-off rather. And then Big Christmas, Joneski, Noel, big power from the right side. A definite big platoon type guy, especially against a bad lefty in Kyle Hart, who's got a home run problem. I think Noel is an awesome play. So he and Lane Thomas are the two bats I'm looking at most closely, but I do like the stack if Jose Ramirez is in the lineup. So we'll see on that. And then I like the Padres too. Ortiz, not any good, doesn't miss bats. Padres put the ball in play and are running wild this season too. Tatis specifically going to be a good play for a while here. He basically said he was playing on one leg all season, so his numbers weren't quite as good, but he's healthy, going crazy to start the year. He's a guy that you're going to want to get a lot of shares of early on, Fernando Tatis. So I do like the Padres quite a bit here.
Sold, DC, plus 300 for a stolen base. I'm in. I like guys that are running, and I like that teams are just going to pitch around him most of the time anyways. You watch that Braves game, they were terrified to pitch to him. Teams will all do this, and he's going to get a lot of chances to
just real quick. One thing when you notice that the pitchers are pitching around specific batters that maybe you wouldn't expect or more than you expect, they often know kind of something about that before we do, right? Before the numbers even indicate. So you can take that as a indication that maybe a player is kind of locked in right now.
Yeah, plus 425 actually on DraftKings Sportsbook for a stolen base is Fernando Tatis. So, okay, sold in. Tony, what do we got here with this game? DC brought up a few guys here. Did like the spot for hitting, just doesn't love the park, but does like the matchup for Cleveland especially. What do you like?
Yeah, I mean, some things with the success I've had in baseball over the years, I just have a few things that I just don't really budge on, and these parks are one of them, where I just, over the years, I mean, we've all played baseball now for over 10 years of fantasy baseball, and I mean, how many times you're like, man, I wish I had more of San Diego, the park. Like, probably you can remember 5 times in 10 years that you can remember it. And it's crazy because their offense is loaded. I mean, you got guys that are pretty good hitters down 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, not today with Jason Hayward. I mean, even Jason Hayward in the 8 hole, that's not like whatever. Like, it's not the worst play ever down in the 8 hole. So I like the lineup. And you guys are dead on about Tatis. I haven't watched a ton of baseball, but I have watched 2 Padres games, and Tatis totally dialed in, like as much as anyone could be dialed in. So for me, again, it's going to be more of just picking some bats. I will not be stacking outside of the Dodgers, who I think you need to stack every single day. Like, you're just going to have to stack the Dodgers. There's too much upside. I'm just not going to stack these late games ever. Like, I'm just not. I'll pick some bats out for sure. Tatis, definitely one of them. Arias, I'm never really going to Arias. Just a slap. A good hitter, great hitter, but slap hitter, don't love him. Machado, I don't know. I don't love Machado. Jackson Merrill, I think we'd see take another leap this year. I think he's just going to keep getting better. I love this lineup. I do, but just not much. I'm definitely not going to go to the Guardians, though. I don't love Ramirez early in the year. I feel like Ramirez is the type of guy that doesn't do anything in the offseason and then works his way into shape during the season, into batting shape and everything. Could be not true. That's just how I look at it. I don't remember him ever getting hot to start a year. I actually like Kyle Hart. I don't know like a ton about him, but looking at his numbers, looking at the price, looking at the matchup in the park, you said Jose Ramirez might be out too. His projection's somewhat decent at 6K. I like Kyle Hart a little bit. I'll be honest. So I'm sure he's not great, but a lot of pitchers on this slate aren't great. And I like the park. I like the matchup. And I think he can grind me out enough at 6K. So I'll actually take a stand on him. I think he's one of my favorite people.
I could always be sold on a 6K pitcher on this type of slate.
It will be better too if Ramirez, like DC said, if he's somehow not in this lineup, I'll even bump him a little. I have him high right now, but I'll bump him. He might be a core play for me if Ramirez is out of the lineup.
Yeah, we still don't have the lineup, it looks like, so probably still waiting to see
what did
if
old
he's in or
AP
out.
win in the morning? I see him celebrating in there.
Yeah,
Did he win the early slate?
He must have won something. I don't know what though.
I didn't.
Did he play the White Sox with Phillies?
I don't know, but everyone's celebrating. What did he win? I wasn't in the contest, so
I'll check the flagship. I assume it's not that.
To be the flagship.
I'm seeing all the AP gifts, so
yeah,
won something.
His Royals. He's celebrating his Royals or something.
He played Bubic, the pitcher. Yeah.
Second place.
10K. All right.
AP is on a heater too. He's got a heater going.
It's always good. It's always good. 10K is nice. A little 10K in the morning.
From first.
I don't know. I don't have it up.
Second place is good. Like when you don't have a chance to win first, and it feels good. Yeah. I wanted to see how. Like when someone wins by like 30 or something, you don't even have to worry about it.
I don't even see the screenshot. Come on, AP. You got to be better than that. You got to post a screenshot, AP. Oh, I know you're watching right now in the Discord. You got to post the screenshot.
Yeah, we got to see it.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, we're waiting for AP to post his damn 10K screenshot from the early slate. Let's get to the next game here. Cubs and Athletics here. Cubs -114. The absolute most glorious meltdown yesterday for the Chicago Cubs against the D-backs. If you ever don't love live betting, or the best thing about live betting, it is the fact that you can get a team like plus 800, plus 900 in the 8th inning. And that was my D-backs. They're not actually my team, but I love betting them randomly. And I was just bored, honestly, and I just bet them because I needed a couple like offensive things because I bet a couple like home runs.
Your team, you like
D-backs. They come through. They come through.
A jersey.
They come through. They score 8 runs in the final inning and a half or whatever, and they win the game.
Whole story, but you're not. You can't start by you love the D-backs. You're always.
It's true. Ketel Marte is probably my favorite hitter. It is true. I love Suarez. I'm pissed that Christian Walker's no longer on the
They
team.
got Josh Naylor though. He's good too.
He's good. Yeah, he's good. You're
God,
right.
I hate the
So.
lefties. I have a lefty bias, like whitey bias in basketball. I hate lefties.
But the point was more the Cubs absolutely melted down. There, I don't know if like the bullpen is as bad as it was yesterday. It was just a bad day, DC, but they melted down bad in that game yesterday. Kyle Tucker was their one bright spot, but other than that, Cubs not good. I love to see it though for my wallet. You see anything here, DC?
The Cubs offenses look pretty good against the D-backs, so you could go to them. I mean, Estes is feels like it's a long line of very mediocre pitchers going today. Estes,
they're all the same guy.
I know it's like kind of hard to talk about them because they're all just so mediocre. But yeah, again, we don't love these parks. These it's going to be like 50 degrees and all, it's just not that great for hitting, but nevertheless, I think you can go to bats here. It would be the Chicago side that I think is the better play. I don't hate, going up against Ben Brown, again, a talented pitcher, but these young guys, hard throwing, young pitchers, they're also prone to just completely losing it and getting blown up, which is obviously what we're chasing in tournaments. So I do think both offenses are in play. The Cubs, I'm sure, will be the more popular side. They're the side I like better. But yeah, for the Athletics, they've got some studs, man, at the top of the lineup. Lawrence Butler, Brent Rooker in particular. You can play those guys on any slate, especially when they're alone, which they usually are, and I think will be tonight. So those would be the two guys from the A's. And then the Cubs, Tucker, Ian Happ at the top of the lineup. Pretty clearly the two best bats on the Cubs. Suzuki and Swanson have swung decent bats. I think they both homered yesterday, so they're all right. And Pete Crow Armstrong can run at the bottom. So yeah, the Cubs definitely a team to look at tonight against Estes, who is very, very mediocre at best.
DC, you didn't even say the Athletics' best hitter right now. This Tyler Soderstrom dude.
He's on fire. Yeah,
he has been raking. I'm definitely playing him as a one-off.
3 home runs so far, I think, for Soderstrom. He's crushed.
I think so, because he double donged, I think, the first night, but it was on the night slate, so probably like people didn't play the night slate as much. But yeah, he's been on fire, so I'm definitely playing
Big T, does it annoy you that DraftKings doesn't update the game logs for these players when you click?
It's funny that you know me that good after all these years, because I hate when I can't pull it up and see it. It's always like
I knew that answer was yes. It had to be.
And again, I'm not like a full game log watcher, but when we're like 3 months in and I can look at the last 2 weeks and see who's hot and not, I definitely use it. And I hate early in the year. I want the box scores.
Well, that's why when I know a guy's been like crushing early, I try to like bring it up because I know my guy Big T's like trying to look like
I look, but it takes more work. Like I got to go in and look at a couple different things instead of just literally clicking on the player's name and pulling it up.
Yeah.
I hate it for pitchers too, because granted, none of them have really gone more than one check, but once you start. They usually get it up about right now, so hopefully it comes.
I feel like after a week, right? We get like a full weekend or around that.
I do love that DC call. He knows me too well with some of this stuff after all the years. He knows I like those box scores.
It's because we're too similar in a lot of these things.
I was literally looking at it earlier in the show too. I'm like, God damn, I hate when these things aren't updated.
All right, Big T, you going to bring us to the promised land with this game here? What do you got?
What's the deal with – so I know the A's aren't in that. What's the deal with their stadium now? Like what's
they're in a much better place for hitting as well.
Much better. It's not indoors, right? Where's it at?
It's in –
it says no weather information available on the sheet I'm looking, so I'm like, is it indoors? These are the questions I got to ask early in the year. I don't know. I have no idea what their stadium's like.
This is their first game there, right? Because they were in Seattle. I believe it's Sacramento. Yeah, minor league.
Minor league in Sacramento. So it's outdoors, or is it
outdoors?
Indoors?
Yeah, outdoors.
The point is, too, no matter what, it's got to be way better than that other stadium because that thing was terrible. So it's another spot we got to watch, and it's going to take a little time to to see what's good and bad. But maybe some of these stadiums are way better than they were in the past. It happens. Maybe it's just as bad. We just got to pay attention. But it will make me like this a lot more than I did. Like if it was in the other stadium, I wouldn't like this game at all. But with these two pitchers, I mean, we can definitely get after it. And this A's lineup is sneaky good, like you guys were talking about. I really like 3 or 4 of these bats towards the top, especially. I see Dusty Max Muncy plays for the A's now. Ooh,
different Max
him.
Muncy. Different Max Muncy. The Dodgers still have.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I wish you didn't say anything and let him talk about it for a second. I wanted to wait like another second.
Are they related?
They are not related, but they do have the same birthday, and they were both drafted.
They got 2 Max Muncies with the same birthday?
That's crazy.
Yep.
I didn't know the birthday thing.
Are they cloning? Is like Elon out there cloning people now or something?
100% cloning.
You guys should have definitely let me go because I would have 100% kept going with it. You guys could have made fun of me for DC's looking out for me.
We missed a generational opportunity right there for Big T to just.
I fucked that one up. I'll take the other.
There's no chance I would have known. Like, I would have gone on the whole game. Well, the good thing is I don't like Muncy, so
the Dodgers are coming up next, so you might have wondered when you saw the Max Muncy.
He hit a bomb though. The only reason I know is because I remember him hitting a bomb, and I was like, "Who is this fucking Muncy guy on this team?" I was like, "That's not that real Max Muncy." And then I looked and I was like, "Oh, okay."
2,300 Max Muncy. The funny thing is I like Max Muncy more in this spot now that I know it's not the other dust ball. I like this guy, so maybe I'll play him at him. This is the guy we bet the 2 bombs on. What's his 2 bombs on? So this is the guy we get in there on.
Now you got me looking.
But I like the A's, a sneaky spot for the A's here in this spot. And I can also play Ben Brown, though. It's one of those spots I'm going both ways. I can definitely play a little Ben Brown and definitely some A's. And then, I mean, going against Joey Estes, you have to play some Cubs. I mean, it's just Joey Estes stinks. He's always stunk. He's not any good. This lineup, I'll be honest, I don't love the Cubs lineup. I do like a few guys. Michael Busch is one of my favorite plays of the night. I always like him against bad righties. He's a big platoon guy. I would put him on my chart's not going to be up tonight, I don't think, because it's not on the site yet. But if the chart was up tonight, Michael Busch would be on the chart too at first base for sure. Kyle Tucker, Ian Happ. It's probably more of a mini stack again for me, but I do like a few of these bats a lot. Like Swanson, I think Swanson's pretty dusty. I think the bottom of the Cubs lineup's really bad, but the top, I like the top a lot. So we can find some pieces.
100-1 for your boy Muncy.
Yeah, that's the bet.
Can you parlay Max Muncy and Springer double dong bets to get?
I'm sure
that
you
would
can.
pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
If it happens, this show will be absolutely electric.
I will not advise that, but if anyone has the balls to do it, go for it because I love those type of bets. Those are like the ones that I wouldn't.
There's another dude named Max Muncy in the major leagues. You guys could have really got me good there.
Yep, that's all right. We'll have another opportunity.
I gotta pull him up. What's he
look like? I don't know.
Kind of like the other Muncy.
He does not look like the other Muncy. Yeah.
All right. Let's keep moving here. We still got 2 more games left. Let's see here.
2 more.
I will just say I like the Athletics tonight. I like the Athletics and Kyle Tucker.
Would you guys call them the freaking A's instead of the damn Athletics every time?
No, they're the Athletics. Why would I call them the A's? They're the Athletics.
The Athletics. I mean, first you guys got me saying the damn Guardians instead of the Indians. Now you got me saying
I did not do that. I call them Cleveland.
It must have been DC then.
Well, that's not my fault. Real baseball fans know that they're the Indians forever and always. So
I thought they were going to bring it back too. Like there was a bunch of people saying they were going to bring it back, but then
they need to bring it back.
They killed it off.
It'd be so fun if they brought it back.
Well, dude, it was like one of the big tribesmen or something was like, "We want the name back." He was like defending it for it the other way.
Yeah, Yeah,
Steve,
giving him
whenever you
some
talk
pump.
about the Tribe, Stevers just comes in out of nowhere. Like, oh, it doesn't. It's like the bat signal. Whenever it comes up.
Stevers knows. Stevers, what's their name? You know what their name is. Call them
Stevers
the
got the
correct
banner
name.
on his wall.
Stevers must watch Major League at least once a week. Just for
I
good
do too.
vibes.
Didn't someone like try to cancel Stevers on Twitter for like having Chief
Wall? For it. They were not pleased with his Indians banner.
Can't cancel them for the Indians banner. Sorry, not sorry. That's bullshit. Let's go to the next game here. We've got what is that? Detroit and Seattle. I think I skipped this one somehow on the DK Sportsbook app. Detroit, Seattle's minus 118 on the money line. 7 total. Low total here, boys. I think the lowest on the slate. DC, I assume you're going to like a pitcher. I know you talked up one of these pitchers before the season started as like a pitcher to watch, I think.
Yeah.
So what do you like here?
So I would be on Jackson Jobe here, but he's just not going to pitch long enough in this game, I don't think, to pay off that $8,800 price tag. But a rookie fireballer for Detroit. The results haven't been as good as his stuff would make you think that he could put out there, but still a highly talented arm. I just think it could be, 4 innings or something like that for Jobe. So even against Seattle in this park, I don't think I'm going to do it at that $8,800 price tag. Just hard to play over, I think, over Glasnow and Rasmussen and Francis. But I do expect him to pitch well while he's in there, well enough that I'm pretty much off Seattle. This is the park. We talk about these West Coast parks. This is the one that I really hate. I really, really hate this park for hitters. Love using pitchers here. But like I said, Jobe, I think just too expensive for what you can expect out of him. And then Hancock, really, really low strikeout arm. So yeah, like he'll probably be fine on run prevention. I don't think the Tigers are going to blow him up or anything, but it's probably going to be like, 2, 3, 4 strikeouts, just not enough, especially at 8K. I don't know. The pricing on the pitching today is it's aggressive. I don't know why everybody's priced up so high, but it's hard to play these two guys. I don't like these offenses either, though, so kind of a game I'm going to be avoiding for the most part.
Yeah, that's what's bringing me more to trying to talk myself into this Padre guy at 6K. His heart, dude, is like,
yeah.
I don't love spending on these pitchers, but I need to spend down or something like that. So, Big T, pitchers for you in this low total, or are you with DC? You're kind of out with the price tags.
I just kind of disagree with. I think they're overpriced for sure, but I think they're all overpriced. So it's more of a slate issue than I think you can play these guys. I think you just have to lower what you think you should get from them. Like they're not going to get the same upside, but because I didn't know this dude was super talented. So hearing that makes me like him even more, actually. In this park, it's going to be in the 40s. The park stinks. There's not going to be runs. So, I feel like your floor is higher than you would normally think with these pitchers. I don't know. I like the pitchers in this spot. I'm going to be on them. Nothing crazy. I'm not saying I'm going to go in there and play 40% Hancock in these guys. But, again, it's a similar spot where I can play 20% of these guys, and I'm just going to spread around. I like this Detroit guy, though. After hearing DC say that he's a fireballer, super talented, I think we can get a little bit of kick in these spots early before people realize it. DC's usually earlier than other people with knowing who's good and talented early in the year, and I think we got to take advantage, especially on slates like this, where what happens when he just goes in and strikes out 8 guys in 4 innings or something and just pops off. So I actually like the pitchers a lot. I'm not going to be on the hitters. I was trying to make a case for someone. I'm definitely not going to be on a Detroit guy in this park. Seattle, I can always play Camporeale, Julio, A-Raz, Polanco. Seattle's got a decent lineup. This park just absolutely sucks, though.
Yeah.
If I play anyone, it'll be just a batter too, and more pitchers for me than anything here.
All right, let's get to the final game on the slate. Atlanta Braves and LA Dodgers, 8 total. Dodgers sitting minus 245 on the money line over at DK Sportsbook. Big T, I'm going to throw it right back to you here. You said we got to stack the Dodgers, got to just stack the Dodgers most days? Are you on the Dodgers? Are you jamming the Dodgers today?
I just think they're going to be overowned too every slate like this, though. So I do like them, and I'm going to play them the same pretty much all year. Like if I played 3 teams, I'd play a Dodgers team. If I played 10 teams, I might play 2 Dodgers teams. Like I want just some Dodgers, maybe some spots where it's better. Like maybe they're at Coors or something. I just full shove them, even though they're chalky. But on slates like this, I think you get way more advantage playing other teams. Again, not saying you can't, not saying the Dodgers won't be the winner. The chances are they probably are the winner. They're just really good on offense, and they're going to score a bunch of runs. So, me personally, though, I like those early spots better tonight. I like Tampa, Toronto, Washington, a few of these teams early in the slate. So it's perfect for me. I'm just going to be the field with the Dodgers. I mean, in my 150, I'll play, 20% or something Dodgers and whatever happens. But I don't like them, and I like the pitchers here. We got our boy Kenny Powers going for the Braves. Mm-hmm. We got Glasnow going for the Dodgers. And again, I mean, how many times am I going to play pitchers against the Dodgers? It's a terrible spot. Like you're not gonna love playing pitchers. But this slate in particular, I'm going to play a little Kenny Powers against the Dodgers. I'm not scared on this slate. I'm not going to play a ton, but I'm going to play a little. He at times in the past has shown us good stuff. I think even in a big playoff game, he came in and had a monster start for them. So I know some people, his talent level might not be as good as other starters that they've had and stuff. But I like his grit. I could see him rising up for this. Again, it's not a great park for the hitters, even though the Dodgers have a great offense. I'm more on the pitchers in this game than the hitters, and I don't know. I'm sure the Dodgers are the chalkiest team. I'm sure they could score 10-plus runs, but my contrarian side of me, I like the pitchers more here.
All right, pitchers more. DC, do you agree with Big T that it's the pitchers over the hitters here?
I'm not playing Kenny Powers wannabe Grant Holmes against the Dodgers, but I mean, I get it on this slate. I mean, I mentioned that, all these pitchers are projected similarly point per dollar for a reason. It's the truth, and you'll get them low owned against the highest owned stack. So it makes sense kind of from a game theory perspective. Not going to be for me on my 3 teams that I'm playing on DraftKings. Glasnow, I mean, how owned do you think he's going to end up being? Over 50%?
I think definitely in the bigger stuff over 50.
Yeah.
Like, in the flagship, I think 50 is a good number. Just say he's 50%.
Sure. So, I mean, he's the most expensive pitcher. He's the most owned pitcher. When you get those 2 things, he's got to have a big game to pay it off. And even then, not necessarily, unless it's an enormous game, which frankly probably won't happen because the Dodgers are going to be cautious with their pitchers all season long, try to keep these guys healthy for the inevitable playoff run. We've seen them, most of their pitchers, kind of 5 innings and getting out of there. I think that's mostly going to be the case for Glasnow, unless he's super efficient. He throws 60 pitches through 5. They'll let him out there for a 6th. But in most cases, I bet it's 5 innings here. He's good enough where he can rack up the strikeouts anyway. In this Braves offense, I think they got shut out both Saturday and Sunday, and then today lose their leadoff man for an 80-game suspension. Rough start for the Braves, but these seem like the kind of spots where you're like, oh man, this team is just fucking dead. They're, absolutely dusty. Everything's going wrong. Chalkiest pitcher. And then, sports happen, and especially baseball happens, where you see it all the time. Random shit that nobody thinks is going to, like the White Sox today. I mean, Paddock was like 60% owned. White Sox, put up 9 spot in the first 2-3 innings. So I'm not saying that the Braves are going to do that, but you can't assume anything in baseball. So if you're off of Glasnow, I wouldn't mind grabbing a Braves hitter or 2. Hard to say even who that would be, since none of these guys have hit at all so far, but top of the lineup, I think, is where I would look. And then, Glasnow, I'll probably have him on, I think, one of my 3 teams is what I'm going to do with Glasnow. But yeah, if you want to lock him in and be over the field that way, no problem. He is, I think, by far the safest pitcher on this slate is Glasnow. I know, he's projected highest for a reason, but I think he'll be pretty good and at least get you, 5 or 6 strikeouts kind of at a minimum.
All right. Yeah, they're going to hit the pitchers. Yeah.
I was going to say, I do like the Dodgers. I mean, they looked kind of at the beginning of the year like it could be a rough start, relatively. Betts had that weird illness where he lost like 25 pounds. Freeman looked like he maybe not be fully healthy. He didn't play in either of the games in Japan. And then they got back here. I mean, Betts hit the 2 home runs. Freeman hit a long bomb. Obviously, we know what Ohtani can do. Teoscar looks healthy. So this Dodgers team right now looks like they are kind of firing on all cylinders at the plate, which isn't a team I want to pick on. I'll probably have one of my 3 DK teams end up being a Dodgers stack, most likely.
All right. Yeah, I probably won't. Dodgers going to be popular. I probably won't play Dodgers today, but I get playing them. They're best team in baseball by far, and they're going to nuke some slates. Hopefully the pitchers can win out today, but that's going to do it. That's all, I think, 8 games on this slate. Let's get our, we got to do our dongs of the day and, play of the day or whatever we want to do. Do we all want to go through a home run call?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, I'll go first. As host, I just choose to go first, so you guys can't steal mine, even though you probably won't. Anyways, I'm going with this Tyler Soderstrom, dude, plus 700 on DK Sportsbook. Take that. I think he's like 80-1 to double dong. Big T likes the double dong calls, so throw that one out there for him. DC, you got a home run call for the people?
Yeah, give me Jonathan Aranda. Hitting cleanup for the Rays. Can play him at first or second base. I think he gets one early in this game. Cheap as well. And then it's not a home run call, but Victor Scott, too. I do got to mention him. Can do it in multiple ways. 2,400, going to be low owned. Probably more likely to do it with the legs, but he's looked good at the plate to me as well. So Victor Scott, too, my favorite hitter on the slate.
Plus 425 for a stolen base. I like it, DC. Big T, don't forget, I guaranteed the people a winner. So you can't make me look bad here.
I mean, I got a guaranteed dong tonight, too, so I'm not going to make you look bad because my sneaky stack of the night that I love is Washington, and my dong of the night is CJ Abrams for sure, who anytime I can get a guy like him with as much talent as anybody, under 10% owned, and my stack is unowned, and it's in a good park. He just checks all the boxes for me. So I love Washington tonight, and I love CJ Abrams. The more I've started running numbers too and stuff, this is what happened to me all last year too with Blanco, but I like San Francisco a decent amount against Blanco too. It's just all the numbers point towards him getting beat up. I know it didn't happen, but those are my 2 like sneaky teams, Washington and San Francisco.
All right, there we go. 2 sneaky teams for Big T. If you want more of the content,
get the platoon thing up. Nathan just texted me, didn't text me, messaged me. I'm going to try to get it up pretty quick here, but we got to do the NBA, get NBA up too. I'm
working on that right now, Big T. So I got that.
I'm going to try to get baseball up then. But going forward, though, if you want the platoon plays, we got that on the site now too. Well, it won't just be platoons. It'll be
a full player pool. So I think K Fallick's on there.
I don't know if he'll have it up there today, but going forward,
I might be on there at some points when I play. So we'll have it covered though. We just wanted more baseball content, the better for you guys. So we wanted to get as much baseball as possible. DC's got his article, core plays. He'll be in the Discord. We got the JBC team slate builder with those guys, Bryce, Third and Schlong, Stats, JBC, Dan, taking care of that. So a ton of content, the playbook by JT Hayes and everyone else that does it, obviously, throughout the week. So between all of us, Tony, we got a ton of content for the people, a ton of different content to consume. So
absolutely.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that show. Almost an hour and a half. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place for Big T, DC, and myself, JSU. Good luck in your contest over on DraftKings. We're out of here. Peace.